Next up, from Team Australia, we have Call Me Quinn.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. Second interview of the day, coming in spicy.
Ooh.
You've just come straight off. We've just come off a great interview with Team Serbia, so a lot of challenge there. Did you catch the interview?
Unfortunately, I didn't. I was visiting my grandparents, and I only just got home.
Okay, that's no problem. Yeah, he has got a great voice. Quinn, you got a great voice. We've said this many
Thank
times.
you very much.
Great voice. Yeah. So, Team Austria is who you really are. Are you the captain?
Yes, I am the captain, and I have been since 2021.
Oof. One of the youngest teams, I think, on the map. Have you done that? Have you tracked that? You've got quite a young team.
I think our average age is around 32,
Oh, okay. All right. So pretty good. Pretty good.
midfield, I'd say.
Not that that matters. Not that that matters. Not that that matters. Okay, so tell us about Austria. Tell us about number one. How do you feel about your team logo being voted into the D tier?
Well, personally, I designed it 2 years ago on my laptop, and so I think the effort shows in the rating that I put in. But personally, I'd say it's better than last year. Last year we were the only one in wheelie bin, so
You were the only ones in Wheelie Bin after Sweden
yeah,
updated.
that is
Like
correct.
that's nice. That really lets you know that like a good thing with logos and all that other sort of stuff is people get used to graphics. So you're doing fine. Like don't stress. Yeah, a lot of the chat are very positive about the fact that you've updated it. That you haven't. That you thought you'd smashed it 2 years ago, and you're just there right now.
It's absolute perfection, no way to improve it, in my
Perfect.
opinion.
That's what I would say. First time, best time. Okay, so Team Austria. Tell us about Team Austria. Like, so what's the community like in Austria? Is it big? Do you have lots of events? Tell me some stuff about you guys. Tell me about the land of chickens and pastures.
Close enough. We're actually a very mountainous country, and that basically reflects in our community, which is sort of split. We have two sort of larger community centers. One is in the east of the country, which is where I'm from. West, sorry, in the west of the country, where I'm from, and a larger part to the east. Um, Basically, the mountains do not necessarily help with community building a lot. Um, that's why the community is sort of split. The events here are mostly one dayers, pretty well visited actually, between 20 to 40 players average. But we're dipping into
40
more and
players at
more.
your local events. That's pretty great.
Yeah, it is. But we're dipping more into 2 day events, longer form events. I think I ran the first 2 day event in Austria here in January of this year.
Oh,
And
congratulations. That's
there's,
great.
thank you very much. And there are a couple more on the way. We also get a lot of players from other neighboring countries, mostly Germany. For example, lovely German team members Colin and Max,
Hmm.
who are in the chat, I believe. Shout out to them. Are regular visitors here and greatly enjoy having them around for tournaments and such.
Oh, that's really fun. So have they only started to become travelers to the events post Worlds last year?
No, actually not. They were part of these. They've been part of these events for a very long time now. I think 2020, around that time, was when they really started coming to events here.
Okay. All right, that's good. And like do you get to hear lots about what's happening in the Australian community while also not Australian, sorry, the German community while also talking about what's happening in your community? Like, is it nice like bringing in those players from other like nations and really getting like an inside view into their community, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's not that far for us to go to Germany and for them to come here for a couple of events. So the community is pretty interconnected, I'd say.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's good. Is it like a New Zealand Australia situation? Whenever New Zealanders go to Australia, they win all of their events, which is rough for them, especially when they're just drinking like wine out of a bag, which is what the New Zealanders do and how they live. So I don't know. I assume the Germans are just drinking long beers out of a shoe. I'm not sure, or like a boot, but I'm not sure how they drink it. But like, do they come over and win all the events?
I think it depends. It's pretty balanced. We have a very strong Austrian one-dayer community, if you can say so. A lot of people that are very good players only have time to attend one-dayers. So, um, yeah, I'd say it's pretty balanced.
Do you guys have
Sometimes
do
the
you guys have
Germans
a
win.
do you guys have an aggressive local meta?
Ooh, it's very difficult to say because there are a lot of events here. Every month or so, there's one or two events over the entire country. But in general, the meta I think is not as strong as it would be in other places.
Okay, okay, all right. Well, so you're the captain for the team. How did you
Yes.
go through the process of team selection this year? What was your process? What did you think? Do you think just the seven best looking lads I could find, or like what was your tactic?
For this year, I basically put more effort into developing the team with the community. So instead of taking over the team selection process on my own, three other players from last year's team joined me and basically helped me select good players from their communities all over the country to sort of become a part of the greater selection pool for the Austrian team.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, our team consists not only of people that I personally know, but we also have a couple of players from Vienna where they have a very strong and very engaged community, but I didn't necessarily know about it.
Oh, really? So there's a big Vienna community you haven't like been able to get in touch with before.
Yes, exactly. But this year, we've put more effort into making the community connect as a whole. And I think we've achieved or set the groundworks for that to better implement players from all over the country next year.
How do you integrate the Viennans though? Is it via like a swirl or like what's the process?
We basically have multiple channels of communication. We have a large WhatsApp group where we just chat about the meta and list ideas and such. And we also have a collective Discord server where we also pour our resources and efforts into to sort of keep up to date with what's happening in our respective communities.
Oh, that's fun. That's really fun. Did you hear the Serbian captain was like he was trying really hard to not only develop a team to win, but also a team that came together as like a friend, like a friendship group. Obviously, you don't want to force friendship on people, but are you trying to build like a more like a more cohesive community across the country through the process?
Yes, of course. I think that was our main goal for this year is just bringing in more members from all across the country instead of just focusing on the people I already knew.
Uh,
Um, Basically, I think that the team building aspect comes somewhat naturally once you're connected by such a competitive spirit and you talk with one another on a regular basis. The cohesion comes on its own, I feel.
Perfect. Okay, so tell us who's in the team. How did you choose them? Why are they in there? Tell us some stuff about them. Who's in the team?
So, first things first, I'll have to start off with my committee of other selectors.
Ooh, a committee. How do you get voted on
Yes,
the committee?
in general, we've not put this down in writing, but there is a draft out there that says that if you want to be part of the selection committee, you have to partake in the previous World Championship, and preferably should not necessarily belong to the same sort of greater community. So if two people from Vienna would like to join the committee, it might be suggested that only one of them can join, so that maybe somebody from Tyrol or another region can join the committee and basically provide a larger pool of players that can attend.
Hey, listen, Quinn. Just you and me, no one else. I'm muted for a minute. Do you like hate the Vienna guys? Like, just tell me the truth.
No, I don't. They're lovely people, really.
Okay, fine. All right, good. I was just seeing. I was just seeing if you were like, this is my chance to dog. That's fine. All right.
No,
Oh, but
Jesus
Max in the
Christ.
chat says you do. Oh my. Okay, it's all happening now. Okay, this is insane. Who knew? Big drama. Big drama. Gotcha journalism. Obviously, that's a joke. Okay, so the selection committee. Tell
Max
us all
is
about.
Bavarian. His opinion doesn't care.
Wow.
That doesn't count.
I feel like there's like loads of you who understand different counties around that region and like the 1100-year-old war that you've had, which none of us really get. Like at some point, the people from Max's village or town like said that the people from your town had the wrong pantaloons, and now you've been in a grudge match for 1200 years. Is that correct?
You're wearing the wrong shade of lederhosen. Get out. No, but
Okay.
yeah, there are friendly grudges even within our community. It's more of a regional stereotype that goes both ways. Basically, we have some predispositions about the VNS. They have opinions about us. Nobody likes the people from Styria. It all comes
Styria?
together nicely.
Who are
Yeah.
they? Fuck them. Okay. All right. So that was the 30-year war, Rob. Thank you. Thanks, Toby. All right. So selection committee. Tell me all about them, baby.
Oh yeah. Basically, there are three of our most innovative and smart players from last year's team. Daniel, who is from Styria.
Uh-oh.
He was born in Tyrol, so he doesn't count. But he's a lovely bloke, really technical, and I'm glad to have him on the team, of course.
Is he
Then
playing?
No, he will be coaching together with me and another member, to which I will come shortly.
Okay.
And on the selection committee, we also have Tobias and Florian, who have been our best performing players last year. And they both have very strong connections to their local communities and have helped us basically get more people into the team. And are very eager about like training and discussing lists, etc., etc.
Okay, good. So these aren't player members. These are just
No. Tobias and Florian will be playing. It is just
what are they both
me.
playing?
Florian will be playing Slaves to Darkness, classic Varangard spam and Be'lakor. And Tobias will be playing Slanesh.
Ooh, okay. Either of those? I don't know what's just happened. Are either of those like long-term players? Been playing a long time. What's the situation?
Well, Tobias has been on the Worlds team for Austria since its inception in 2021. And I think he's been playing far longer than that. I think he started in 2016, 2015 or something. And Florian, our youngest team member at only 20 years old, he's been playing since the fantasy days.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah,
Okay.
which is incredible. I really enjoy that about him when he just makes throwback references to how things would have worked in Fantasy Battle. It's really funny sometimes.
Perfect. Who else is in the team?
Yeah, we've got another this year. We've decided to take another member on board for additional coaching. That's Christoph,
Ooh, coaching.
and he's so savvy with so many armies. It is insane. He plays Slaves to Darkness, Slanesh, Zinch. He has incredible insight into every single Chaos faction and a lot of Destruction factions as well. So I'm very glad we got him on the team this year. And he's a great bloke to hang around with. Always enjoy a couple of beers with him, just discussing lists and such in the Discord.
Is
And
he
yeah,
the is he like the list wizard? Who's the guy that does like who's the most like who pushes the envelope on the lists and the group competitively? Who's the brain in the team?
I think it's not necessarily a single person effort, it's more of a team effort. Since we are trying to balance our lists against what's relevant in the meta and what we might expect to see at Worlds, we all sort of have to collectively come together to get to lists with which we are happy. Because I might not know everything about, let's say, Fire Slayers or Nighthaunt, but somebody else in the team does, and therefore I can sort of adapt my list with that knowledge to better improve it for the entire team.
Okay. Okay, good. All right, nice. Okay. But please continue. Tell me who else is in the team.
We've got a lovely bunch of VNS people this year. We've got Slucky. A lot of people know him. He's a very enthusiastic dwarf player overall. Fire Slayers, Caradron Overlords are his specialty, and he just works his ass off creating lists and testing them. And he's been one of our most engaged newcomers this year, I'd say.
Is he
Uh,
only just got into the hobby, or
uh,
just new into the team?
just new into the team. Just new into the team.
Okay,
He's been
perfect.
playing for a couple of years now, and I'm very grateful to have his insight and expertise just aid us with everything. Especially since the KO book dropped, he's been hot on his heels, trying to get everyone up to speed, what to watch out for, etc., etc.
Has he been one of the people like gunning for a spot? Has he been like? Has the team like? Have you had like quite a lot of people after last year been pushing to be in the team?
Yeah. Interestingly enough, the team size grew from 9 members last year to 16 members total this year, of just people who are interested in helping and playing with us just to get us ready for the next World Championship and even to get a spot on the team. We were very late with our final roster selection because there were a lot of people to pick from. So we didn't necessarily know who to go for because skills and such apply differently. And it was a really hard choice for us, and especially for me in the selection committee.
Okay, it's been difficult because so many people are keen this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's pretty fun. Love to hear that. Love to hear that. Okay, who else is in the team?
We've got another Florian. He's a
Two
lovely chap.
Florians,
Yes.
and none of these are the Florian who like loves Ninth Age Florian.
No, the Slaves to Darkness player is. Wait,
No, no, it's okay. There's a famous Florian in Warhammer Fantasy Battle Days. I assume none of this is that guy. I,
I'm
th-
actually not sure.
I think he's Swedish or Polish, this other guy, so don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
Mm. Uh,
But yeah, he's also joined this year for the first time. Or he joins us this year for his first round at Worlds. I'm very interested to see how he performs because he's been very eager and has brought a lot of like good concepts to the table for ideas regarding boot camps and training exercises, etc., etc. Just in general, being part of the community and getting together and discussing lists.
okay, fantastic. You'd love to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Right. All right, and then anyone else in the team?
Rounding out the VNS trio, we have Jokl, who is one of my favorite people ever. He is very intelligent, fiercely gamey, and he just knows a lot about how his own factions work. He's basically an expert at Khorne and Flesh Eater Courts, and I'm glad to see him perform so well in his role in the team, especially now that we've taken a closer look at our how we approach worlds, how we train, etc., etc. And he's been instrumental in suggesting ways how we can improve that.
Okay, that's really fun. All right, well, I'm going to ask you about that after, but keep going with introing the team, and then we can come back to that.
Yeah. Da, 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 da. Next up, we have a couple of people who actually live like 5 minutes away from me. Uh, Thomas, who is my also one of my favorite people on the team, just because he's very relaxed in how he approaches the game, how he plays his armies, and how he, in general, just approaches the war game and how he plays and as a person. He's a wonderful human being, and it's always great to have a drink with him. And it's not only his, like, first of all, heinously good looks, but also his
Nice.
just general charm and his wargaming ability that make him an invaluable part of the team. He is the cherry on top, so to speak.
Okay, you love to see that. Okay, so you talked about training this year to last year.
Yes.
How did Team Austria do last year at Worlds?
Last year, we came second to last, 21st out of 22 teams.
Okay, so that means you're better than.
Ireland.
Okay, Republic of. Okay, so
Yes.
so taking not doing the worst but not doing the best, and taking this seriously. How did you approach the training regime this year? What changes did you institute? What way did you go about like trying to develop that process?
We first just tried to implement more of a camaraderie type situation into the team. We've designated players and separate coaches within the team. So basically, a couple of members of the coaching team are responsible for 3 to 4 or 2 to 3 players that are actively playing, that are just there to aid them wherever possible, talk through deployments, lists, etc., and just engage in that direction more. And then having a sort of cleaner communication overall, where people just can text one another to arrange games. We've got a database of victories, success rates, etc. And yeah, I think overall it's just this closer knit community type deal, which has helped us improve our training a lot.
Okay, that's great. You love to hear that. Have you taken any examples or lessons from other teams?
Oof. It's hard to say because we don't necessarily get an insight into how other teams necessarily train. The most you'll ever see on Twitter or on Facebook or wherever is just an image of the entire team posing at the end of a training weekend.
Right.
Much more is not really possible. But in general, we're looking to improve that to next year as well. We've got a couple of boot camps planned already. Rough dates have been selected, locations have been selected, and we're just going to try and keep at training for the entire duration.
Ooh, okay. All right. By the way, thank you to Goffson helping to get us closer towards our goal of
Woo!
our first goal of the weekend. Okay, so training's a big deal. We've had another question in the chat from Tom. How many players would Benedict say are part of the competitive community in Austria? How big is his pool of possible players?
Ooh, that is a difficult question. I think there's a lot of undiscovered potential in Austria. A lot of players are confident in their ability to participate in tournaments, but they wouldn't necessarily place their confidence high enough to sign up for the national team, which is an issue that I personally think is more valid than anything. If you do not necessarily have the confidence, to participate in a tryout or sign up for the national team, you're already losing out on a huge opportunity. So currently we're 16 people in the Discord and the same amount of people in our WhatsApp group. But I think the potential is there to expand the team of up to around 25 to 30 players that might be interested and engaged enough to make the Austrian team, the best that it can be.
Okay, that's good. Do you and the team go to other events like internationally to try and get some more like outside your community experience?
I personally love to travel for events.
Mm.
I've been to events in England over the past couple of months. I went to Brotherhood. I went to Justice Series in October. I've been to tournaments in Germany, and a couple of other team members have done the same, but not necessarily as a cohesive Team Austria effort, more of an individual journey, which is something we are also trying to improve for next year. We've already signed up for a tournament in England, the Brothers War, for example,
Mm.
and we're looking to get a team to uh, a couple of other tournaments in Europe.
Okay. All right, that's great. And do you find that going to those international tournaments gives you some better insight into how the other nations play?
Yes, definitely. I personally think that my knowledge of opposing armies, how certain concepts work, and how everything comes together has been greatly improved ever since I started taking an interest in international events and traveling for Warhammer.
Okay, that's really fun. And have you enjoyed engaging with other communities, like other communities, and being a part of those, like meeting everyone from England, etc.? Has that been a positive as well?
Yes, interestingly enough, I think I've made a lot of friends in the international community that I otherwise would never have had the chance to interact with. For example, Hazel from England, she signed up to partake in the Austrian team this year, but unfortunately, we couldn't arrange for test games. And yeah, I got to meet her in October, I believe, when I went to Justice Series, and she was just a joy to be around. Overall, a very lovely human being, and I'm glad I am taking the plunge and experiencing more international events.
Okay, perfect. I mean, yeah, she is currently a back-to-back GT winner, 10-0 the past 2 weeks. Other teams. Who are your international rivals? Who is it that you? I know that there's obviously the Lederhosen Brigade
Yeah,
between quite a few of you, but honestly, as from an outsider's perspective, none of you are winning. Whoever wins that, no one wins. I need you to know. But who are your international rivals? Like, who are you looking to face against? What's the situation there?
personally, I have to say that the Lederhosen trio is, of course, the first answer. Huge community overlaps between Switzerland and Germany and Austria. I think that would be fun to see us duke it out over who wears the best Lederhosen. But um, generally, I think that some of the newcomers would be pretty interesting to play against, namely Northern Ireland and Serbia.
Mhm.
I'm really looking forward to meet everyone from those teams and see how they perform and just have a go at them. I don't know.
Okay, that's good. Who did you get thoroughly whooped by last year? Are you looking for any vengeance against any of the teams that you played against last year?
uh, uh, I think we had our biggest losses were against Team Sweden and Team Spain, I believe.
Mm.
So rematches would be very interesting to see between us and them. I'm not sure how likely that will happen, but one can hope.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, someone in the chat said that obviously some of the newer teams there, Canada are there, but you didn't want to play them. Was that a bit of shade being thrown towards Canada?
Oh no, I'm half Canadian. That's why.
Oh, so you don't want to? So you don't want to play Canada? You don't? You feel split?
Yeah, it's a conflict of interests. basically.
Oh, okay, amazing, amazing. Do you want to see Canada do well this year, or do you feel conflicted saying that?
Let's say I'd like to see Austria perform better.
Ooh, okay. Do you think that that's likely?
Hard to say. The funny thing about Worlds is that we get to interact with communities we never otherwise be able to interact with. For example, Australia, USA, Canada are places that are just so far away from us that it's either way too expensive to go to events or it's not necessarily feasible to attend any of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to take a trip to Canada or the USA and participate in a very, very large event, just experience it for myself. But that's part of the charm of Worlds. If we were to come against them, I'm not necessarily sure how I would be able to gauge it.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's a sensible thing to say. That's good. Okay, so you're not sure what teams, like the teams are out there that you want to play against. You want to do better than last year, I assume. That's
Yes,
the
of
goal.
course.
That's the goal. Okay, sweet. Who do you think's likely to take out the event? Who is your money on if you're a gambling person?
If I were a gambling man, I would probably. Uh, I'd have to say it's between Team England and Team Sweden.
Ooh, wow, wow. Why do you think Sweden are on the cards this year?
I'm not sure. It's a gut feeling. They performed very well last year, and I think they've only improved since then.
Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, that makes sense. So you think they're in with the money? I wonder if the chat agree. Follow-up question. One of the really exciting things about Worlds this year, like last year, is that you'll be playing through all of the GHB missions, all 12 of them, and there are some out and out clangers. Round 2 and round 4, the TO Tom has decided to put all of the worst missions together in what can only be described as a minefield of twists and turns and Realm Zone Cash. How do you feel about those particular rounds? Is this exciting?
I'd like to reference, or I'd like to call them the headache rounds, because Lurkers Below and Twists and Turns in the same rounds. Come on, man. Um,
Pre-
I, I personally, I've had a chat with Tom about this, and I personally agree with his sentiment that either he had the choice of making 2 rounds slightly unbearable by splitting the 2 battle plans of Lurkers Below and goddamn Twists and Turns,
mm,
but at the same time, if both of them are together, it's just 1 round that's unbearable.
I mean, I agree, but like it's gonna happen twice.
Yeah.
Feeling good about that?
Yeah, I'd say the team are pretty confident. I may or may not share that confidence, but I trust that that we'll be making the correct decisions.
Okay, as a viewer, for the people watching right now, what things should people be looking for from the event? Like, what kind of what fun stuff? What do you think are the highlights of Worlds to you personally?
To me personally, it's just the community as a whole. There's hundreds of players there that you may or may not have interacted with in your entire life. People you only know from 5-0 lists and GT wins, but also people you know from Twitter or from Facebook groups where you just chat about lists and about their successes and their participation in Worlds. And I think that the interaction between all those people just coming together and having a collective geek out over the world championship of their one of their favorite tabletop games is just wonderful.
Okay.
What I always enjoy is after the first couple of rounds, just hanging out at the location or the hotel bar or anything, and just having a beer together, having a chat. Top Hotel Praha gang, for example,
Yeah,
just hanging out.
perfect. Top Hotel is the best hotel. I guess the Netherlands is fine. They have free fudge, but nothing's as good as the back rooms.
Yeah,
Let's be real.
correct.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. So, Benedict, it's been lovely having you on. Thank you so much. Who is there anyone you want to shout out before we like for Worlds? Anyone you want to keep your eye on? Anyone you think deserves some praise and love before we head to Worlds?
Um, I think there's only one person that really deserves all the praise that has been thrown at Worlds in general, and that is Tom. He's put huge, such a huge amount of time and effort into creating the basis for one of the best events I think we'll see this year. With Worlds coming to such a huge conglomeration of wargamers of, I think we're 24 nations this year, and a singles event to boot that is just enormous. I think he deserves most of the praise, without a doubt, as a head referee, as somebody who's organizing or helping organize the location and everything that goes into it. It's just, he deserves all of it more than
Okay.
anything.
I agree. I agree. What a great human. Great human. Well, it's been absolutely lovely having you on. Thank you, Benedict. Go Team Austria. I hope you do super well.
Woo!
Yeah. Good luck. Listen, there are 24 teams now, so even if you come 21st, that's an improvement.
That is correct, yeah.
Okay, so something to keep the eye on the prize there. Let's go Team Austria. Love to, Benedict. You can follow Team Austria on Twitter. There is the way to do
Yes.
that. So if you are keen to do so, they do have a Twitter account. You can go follow them. It's at Team Austria, right?
AOS Austria, I believe. I can share it in the chat if give me a second. There we go.
There you
And
go.
here.
There you go. So you
There
can
you are.
all go follow that and go hang out with the team, which would be good. And then follow their escapades at home. Good luck to becoming the king of the Lederhosen. And good luck to everyone in Team Austria. Thanks very much, buddy.